Hello and welcome to the Photo Bar, the podcast talking all about the business and lifestyle of photography while drinking beer. This is episode number 12, The Emotions and Expectations Before Shooting Your First Wedding, with my friend Sean Lee, part 2. Hey, my name is Matt Drew, and my goal is to help you become a better person, a better photographer, and a better entrepreneur. Today, I have my friend Sean Lee back to the Photo Bar to do a follow-up from episode number 7, when we talked about, he was about to shoot his first wedding, and we were just talking about his feelings, thoughts, expectations, and all that jazz going into it. So now we're going to do a follow-up to see how accurate all that was, and what was different, and how he would do things differently, I guess. So what's going on, Sean?
Oh, man, not too much. I appreciate you having me by again. Always a pleasure, but, just been out here hustling and working, man. Not too much time for anything else.
So you've been shooting a lot of weddings, video, or what?
Yeah, of course, I still have my day job, so still working full time on top of doing the video work as well. I've shot a few more weddings since we last talked. But things are going well. I'm happy with where I'm at. It's better to be busy than to not be busy. You know what I mean? So I can't complain.
Man, that's awesome. So you literally went from shooting no weddings to you've shot how many weddings at this point?
Right now for one, I was actually a second shooter, which I actually kind of like that. But
yeah,
shot four total so far.
Damn. Okay, and it's only been what, like 2 months?
Yeah, it hasn't been that long. Yeah, I mean it's
6 weeks,
2 or 3 months, something like that.
All right, so you're moving up then quick. Before we move on too far, though, let's get a drink at the bar here. So, what are you gonna have today?
Man, I'm gonna have some classic Sutter Home Pink Moscato. You know what I mean? I know that's not a very manly drink, but I'll tell you what, if you're on a budget and you want some wine, that's the way to go.
I know a lot of 65-year-old ladies that drink that.
Hey, count me in. Wherever they at, count me in.
Let's see what I'm going to have today. Today I'm having a Consecrator Doppelbock beer, and that is from Bell's Brewery. I've never heard of it or had this, so I guess we'll find out how good it is.
It's not as good as the Sutter Home, I can bet you that.
That could be true. I had some pretty shitty-ass beer a couple weeks ago.
And beer's hit or miss, man. I mean, it's so specific to, your taste buds, but it's you can look at something and it looks very appealing, but then you get that first bite and it's like, oh no, never again.
Yeah, that's kind of how this was. I like the artwork because it had these 2 goats on it. It kind of looked a little satanic, I guess, maybe a little bit. So I was like, fuck it, man.
That's where they get you. I had this one beer a couple weeks ago. I forgot what it was called, but it was like literally it had like a phrase on the label, and each beer flavor was a different phrase. And it's my understanding that it's local, but it was actually pretty good. I wish that I still had a picture of the label so I could share it with you. I'll get back to you if I can remember it, but it was actually really good. I thought it was just some cheap shit. I was like, you know what, this is gonna be garbage, but it's like $2.50. I'm gonna go ahead and grab me one. And I actually wish that I had more at that time. It was actually really good.
So what are you saying? It was local to Atlanta?
It was local to Atlanta.
Okay.
At least that's what it said. You know what I mean? They could have just been faking me out, but I trust them.
All right. Well, yeah, definitely get back to me, man. I'll try it out. Maybe I'll feature it on the podcast on an episode or something. So just to kind of do a recap from last time. So basically you were working a full-time job and you were wanting to move into full-time video, and weddings was going to be a part of that. And then you wanted to do other type of video, but what other types of video are you going to do?
Some corporate stuff. A dream of mine would be to do some documentary things, topics that I feel passionate about, and then going off and filming some things, filming some videos around those topics. But it's hard to find a budget for that. Kind of have to have a following in order to sustain a living doing that kind of thing. So, taking it day by day, taking what I can get for now. But that's the goal, man.
So I guess at this point, is your goal to try to do more weddings to kind of, I guess, move out of a day job, and that would be like a main bread and butter for you? Or are you just going to work the full-time day job until some other point?
I haven't thought about that yet. I'm okay. Like, I'm one of the few people not, and I don't want to use the word content because that's not the case. But I am satisfied with my day job. I'm not 100% sure that I'm satisfied with weddings just yet. I will tell you that, for the amount of work that I have to do and the money that I make and the fact that they're very, I won't say easy to book, but they're everywhere, makes it very appealing. Makes it very appealing to say, you know what, let me just drop everything and move into full-time wedding videos. And of course, it keeps me on my toes for everything else I'm doing. Video work. And at the end of the day, that's kind of what I want to do. But, I'm still not 100% sure. We could be having this conversation, though, in 6 months' time, and I could tell you that I'm quitting and I'm moving into full-time wedding videos, you know what I mean? But, until then, I'll continue to take the work that comes my way and kind of see if I find a style of wedding video that I prefer or that I gravitate to. And, maybe that'll be what moves me into it full-time.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's probably a good move, because I feel, at least from photographers, I feel a lot of photographers their whole goal is to move full-time photography for whatever reason. And instead of taking time to kind of like learn what they like, learn what they don't like, and start building a business on that, they just take anything and everything they can just to get to that full-time status, I guess. Like, it's almost like they're not a pro photographer, quote unquote, until they're 100% full-time. So and I think your move is probably smart. It'll give you plenty of time to kind of experiment and see what you enjoy before you just kind of jump into it. And you can play with a lot of different stuff, and you're not stressed and worried about paying bills because you already got a full-time job.
Right. I think the last thing that I want to do is do a job for the wrong reasons. And I'm not saying that money is the wrong reasons, but I don't want to be like, you know what, I got to eat this month, so I'm going to pick up this crappy wedding just because I need the money. I want to be able to be more selective with the work that I do, and work with the people that I prefer to work with. So, just taking my time. Things are going well, but I'm just gonna continue to take my time and then see where it leads me, what path leads me down.
No, man, I think that's definitely the way to go. I mean, yeah, you probably remember, even when I first started, I was the same way. Like, I obviously needed the money because I kind of just jumped right into it, and was depending on photography for my income. But I had a lot of money saved up, so I had some flexibility, and my whole goal was to just choose jobs that I wanted to do and people that I wanted to do it with from the very start. Where I feel a lot of people, they don't have that advantage, I guess, maybe going into it. So they just get stuck dealing with a lot of bullshit and a lot of headaches and a lot of trouble that they don't necessarily need to do, but they had to do because they just needed the money.
Yeah, sure. And I don't want to fall into that, man. That's kind of what I dread. When what you do starts to become more of a chore, what you love to do starts to become more of a chore than anything else. I think that's when you kind of fall out of love with it. And, I'm not ready to do that just yet.
No, exactly. Actually, I'm gonna open up another beer. We had some technical difficulties for the listeners, and Sean had to drop out for like 15 minutes, so I ended up drinking all my beer.
Grab another beer, and if you're, for the people that are listening, if you have the choice, now I understand some people don't have the choice. If you have the choice, buy a Mac, not a PC. I was on my PC, and the shit's giving me problems even right now. So I had to hop on the Mac. So yes, the Mac is superior in reference to software stability. Choose wisely.
And of course, we're both Apple fanboys, so there's no bias there at all. So my second beer I got going on here right now is a Two-Hearted Ale, and it's actually also from Bell's Brewery. That's kind of weird because I just grabbed a bunch of different ones. But yeah, this one's a lot better than that first one for sure. Personally, yeah.
So you finished the first one now?
No, of course. I finished it. I paid like $350 for that thing, man. You know, I got to throw that shit away. I guess jumping back into it real quick. So that very first wedding that you shot, I remember that was shot with me, right?
Yes, sir.
And you did that totally for free, I guess really just for the experience and to kind of build some type of portfolio, because at that point you had no portfolio, right?
Had nothing. Had
Nothing.
nothing. Had one camera, one lens, and a backpack.
Hey, dude, that's how you remember back when I first started, like 7 years ago, man. I literally had that one camera, one lens, and I rented another camera and another lens. That was it. I didn't even have a backpack.
I'm in there carrying tripods by hand and shit. I'm still carrying tripods by hand. I'm laughing like I came up in the world or something, but now I'm still carrying tripods by hand. But yeah, I went in there with limited knowledge, no experience, and it was all brand new to me.
And I think it turned out really good. The video did, right?
Yeah, I thought it turned out, pretty good for my first wedding. I think maybe, some people may differ, big differ, but I think I'm a better editor than I am filmer. So
Interesting.
I was able to salvage some of the work that was done there. Some of it, like if you could see some of the footage that I actually went through to get to that good stuff, it's like, oh God, what was I thinking here, there was just some BS that I didn't see and it just kind of ruined the entire shot or something like that,
Or like with me walking in the frame.
Yeah, I think there's a couple shots of you in there, man. But hey, you know what? You're part of the day. You're part of the day, so it's all good.
Yeah, that's funny you bring that up, though, because looking back on when I first started, fuck, dude, I had so much just shit that didn't turn out, And even now, like, I shoot and overshoot so much, intentionally knowing that it's certain things aren't going to turn out, Maybe I might severely underexpose, I might severely overexpose, and I do all this on purpose because I'm trying to get different looks and stuff. But even like when I first started, there was a lot of shit that I had to go through and salvage in post-production, which is a lot easier, obviously, on photo than it is on video. But it was the same thing for me. And I think it's just something you learn over time that you get better at, especially with the storytelling part. With video, it's you have to tell a story. That's literally, you don't have an option. Whereas like photos, like I tell stories, and I think a lot of photographers tell stories. And then there's some that don't necessarily tell stories. They just kind of capture moments, I guess.
Yeah.
But with video, it's just storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I didn't feel a ton of pressure on that one, just because again it was totally free
and they had no expectations, right?
No expectations. They didn't know. They didn't pay for it. They just knew, hey, Matt's our photographer and he's happened to bring a video guy, whatever. There was still a lot of pressure on myself to perform and do well, or at least appear that I knew what I was doing. You know what I mean? Because there's even now there's sometimes where like I'm looking at the camera, or I bump something and press the button and I just totally fucked up a shot, or didn't record it, but I'm still looking at the camera like, yeah, this looks great, like it totally, like it was totally flawless, when in essence I just totally botched everything, and I have to figure out how to make that up without making them redo something, so I'm still trying to figure that one out. But I definitely I don't mean to go off on a tangent here, but I definitely learned a lot more about my camera. Not in the sense of I knew where things were, but I've fine-tuned things differently for that type of scenario. Because again, there's a lot of times where my shutter speed doesn't usually change 1/50 100% of the time when I'm shooting 24 frames per second. But in the middle of a wedding, I'm switching stuff around, I'm grabbing this out of my bag, boom, you bump it, and now it's 130, and now it looks like shit for the 2 or 3 clips that I recorded. So, and that happened at that first wedding. I went through a lot of footage, like, man, this shot is great, but it's skipping frames because I totally screwed up the shutter speed. So totally turned off, the back wheel on my camera. So if it gets bumped, nothing turns off ever. Or I'm sorry, nothing changes ever. Amongst, a few little things like that, that I think there are mistakes that you have to make in order to be able to prepare for it. Like I could have read that in a guide and still would have made no difference to me. I'm like, fuck that. I'm keeping my shutter speed right here, But being in that situation, and then having bumped it, that kind of is like, okay, all right, you're not going to get me with that again.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying. I mean, there's a difference between like knowing how to use a camera, like where the buttons are and stuff, and being kind of an extension of you. And after you do so many jobs and you work with the kind of the same equipment over and over and over again, it literally is like an extension of just your hand. Like you just instinctively know everything, and like you can take a photo or shoot a video clip and look at it and just automatically know what the problem is, to fix it. And that just comes with experience, I think.
That's a good analogy. Extension of you. That's what I was looking.
And it's kind of funny because I've been shooting some video kind of on my own at weddings and other stuff, and I literally have been doing the same thing where I'll fucking like hit the shutter and it's down to like 130 or it's bumped up to like 160, and I'm like, fuck, dude, how long has this been going on? Like I have no clue,
Exactly.
I think with photo in general, it's a lot more forgiving than video is, at least right now. Maybe sooner or later they'll have, I don't know, super editing, whatever, that will just make it easier,
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And, that's just an experience thing, I think.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, beyond that, some other things that I learned that I think just come with experience is how you prepare, not necessarily your shots, but just how you prepare yourself, man. I mean, I was out there for, 10 plus hours on like the hottest day of the summer,
I remember you almost fucking passed out shit.
Man, like, if I can share a similar story, I remember, I'm a huge wrestling fan, so we were down in Orlando this past year for WrestleMania, and my daughter, like, it was so hot, she was just like bobbling around, like she just wanted to sit down and drink some water. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, come on, man, you gotta get your shit together. We got shit to do. You can't be that bad. Sure enough, here we come around to this wedding, and I'm over here slumped over trying to hold up this camera. This camera that weighs 2 pounds feels like it's 100 pounds. Just because I didn't hydrate myself properly, and just prepare for the day. So preparing yourself is just as important as anything else, I believe, if not the most important.
I would fully agree. And that's one of the reasons, like, I try to eat super clean, and like on wedding days I focus on like protein and very little carbs. I drink shit tons of water. I go to the gym. I'm actually going to be doing an episode here soon on like health and stuff, just because I think for the type of work that we do, I mean, it's extremely important to take care of your body, and just your brain and everything, mentally, everything. It's just, it doesn't seem like a lot of work to like say push a button on a camera, but it's very physically demanding and mentally exhausting. Yeah. Kind of emotionally exhausting too,
Oh yeah, especially when you're out there, you're climbing hills with fucking tripods and cameras and shit. Like this stuff looks lightweight on paper, but when you're carrying a bunch of it at once, and you're hiking here, you're hiking there, you're trying to get a nice shot, so you gotta walk way across the way, and your shoes hurt, your feet hurt because you got on the wrong shoes, etc. It definitely pays to, spend some money on the right attire and to keep up with your health. It just does.
No, I'd agree 100%. Yeah, that's crazy. I almost forgot about that until you brought that up.
Yeah, man, I was struggling out there, and I felt good when I got home, but man, I was shit.
I remember I was just like, I was trying to help you out, man. I was trying to give you some like Advil and some water and shit. It's like, sorry, bro, man, I got a job to do. Just let me know if you die or something. Like, I'll come back.
Funny enough, now in my little side bag, a little like emergency kit full of medications that I might need. Keep my water and medications on hand just in case something else comes up. Never gonna get caught like that again, ever.
Yeah, and that's what you learn from experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Like you never would have learned that any other way.
Yes, sir. Like I said, back to what I said before. I could have read that in the book and just looked over it, but until you get taught that lesson one good time, and you'll never get caught out there again.
So, do you think that like shooting that one free job helped with anything, like booking other jobs or anything else?
What's funny is that the second one that I did. The first one I felt like just kind of helped get my feet wet. Okay.
The one that you did with me for free?
The first one that I did with you in the fucking desert heat. That one really gave me just an idea, a glimpse. You know what I mean? I think the second one that I did, which was also for free just because.
Was that the one you did with me too?
Yeah, the one in North Georgia.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember that.
Yeah, that's the one that actually booked me, my first paid job.
Okay.
And it's just because, if anything else, or if nothing else, rather, the couple that booked me identified with the couple that I filmed, so they felt a connection with the people that they saw in the video. And thus they were like, well, yeah, this is great. This is the kind of stuff that I like, because they saw them in that video.
So they liked the video, but I'm pretty sure it was a gay couple, right? And then another gay couple booked you, right?
Yeah, based on that particular.
Okay, so they liked your work, but they also identified with the people.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. So, if it wasn't for that one, and I honestly wasn't going to do another free job, and and it's not the mentality. It's just like that. It's like, God damn, I'm in here for 16 hours, and then I got to edit this sumbitch, and and I ain't making a dime. Like, I'm giving them money because I got to license the music and everything else. But in hindsight, it's you never know where that's going to lead if you're not busy. Mm-hmm. If you have the time to spare, investing it in doing some free stuff is never a bad thing. Not only you get to practice, but again, like I said, it landed me a paid gig. If I just had that one in my portfolio,
the first one.
Yeah, if I just had that first one, this most recent paid booking may have never happened. They may have just saw me and be like, it's nice, but not for us, So,
so that worked out then. Yeah, I think the same thing. It's kind of like, I think what a lot of people overlook doing quote unquote free work is like the experience aspect and the portfolio building, especially when you're first starting. Because you literally, you fucking had nothing. Like, not even an iPhone video, Then you did these 2 free ones, and now you have some type of portfolio to show, at least 2 videos to show. And then boom, you booked your first job.
And what I can say as well about doing free stuff, it gives you a little bit more of an opportunity to take more risks, because there's nothing, you're not being paid for the work. You're not promising a particular product. So if you want to try out a new technique or, a new way of filming, it's probably best to do that on the free stuff than the paid stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure. Like, I'm getting more and more into video. And so, I second shot a wedding with you, actually. And it was a lot of fun. And I didn't feel pressure at all, like I'm sure that you probably felt on that day, because like I didn't have to worry about shit. Like I'm just there to back you up, for one. I mean, obviously I want to do a good job for you and make sure that I'm delivering what I need to, but I was playing around half the time, just like trying different shots out and exploring stuff, and just trying to get creative, I guess, whereas you couldn't really take all those risks like I could, because you had to get all the the staple shots and all the stuff you definitely needed.
Right. That kind of brings me to the most recent wedding. What you said just kind of brought me to the most recent wedding that I did. It was a paid job, but I was second shooting for another company. It was a guy, he's been doing it for like 10 plus years. So it was a compliment to me that he actually liked the work that I did, despite knowing how many weddings I've had under my belt. He's like, yeah, you're doing pretty good work. So I don't know
if that point is what, 3? 2?
Yeah. That's total.
Yeah, up to that point when he was looking at your portfolio.
Oh, that was 3. That was 3 at that point. So he saw the 3 that I did, and he hired me on to second shoot. And that was actually this past Saturday, at a vineyard up in North Georgia as well. A very, very nice wedding, but he was just kind of like, I may ask you to get a couple shots for me, but beyond that, just get the creative stuff. I got to fly my drone, et cetera, et cetera. So, I'm sitting here and I'm like, so none of my footage you actually need. You just want me to be artistic and creative, and you're going to pay me to do that, and I don't have to edit it. sign me up. You know what I mean? Sign me up. Write the check. Come on,
Yeah.
So that was actually really fun. I got to test out some new gear. I just recently bought an external monitor just because the back of these monitors on these Sony cameras are
Garbage.
trash.
Especially outside.
Especially outside, totally unusable. In the first two weddings that the first three, if there was any type of bright light, I was shooting blind. And there were so many video clips where I was like, man, I can't use this because totally missed focus.
It looks like you're hitting focus. I remember, the stripes are showing up, and it looks like you're like dead on until you zoom in.
And then it's bullshit.
Like, fuck, you're just off by so much of a small amount,
Yep.
But when it's big, it's a totally different story. When you're looking at that 1-inch screen,
yeah. So I bought the monitor. Got a chance to use it this past wedding. And it's funny, I won't name any names, but like the guy that I was shooting with, he was so fascinated at the gear that I bought. Like, you've seen the monopod that I use, and I'm the type of guy, I like to do my research, and I like to buy the gear that I feel that I need. I don't want to shortchange it. I just buy the good shit and leave it at that. I don't want to be out here messing around with the cheaper stuff, and then I end up replacing it down the line anyway, just spending more money.
I've done that a number of times.
So this guy, he's out here, rather than a monopod, he's shooting with a tripod folded together with two legs up.
Damn, that's like heavy.
Dude, and when I tell you it was one of those it was one of those video tripods that each leg was like two legs.
Oh, damn. Like those big ass heavy ones? That thing's
big
solid.
Exactly. He was carrying that around in the rooms and shit. And I just got this one monopod where the feet just fold out and sit nicely and it's stable and everything like that.
Yeah,
we're
I
outside.
like the monopod.
It's great, man. And we were outside, and he was complaining that he couldn't see shit on his monitors, and I'm over here just living a life on this big 5-inch, bright monitor that I can see in pretty much any lighting condition. So he was pretty fascinated with the stuff that I brought to the table. But it was a nice experience to be able to use that in a situation that I will obviously be in the future. And it was very low risk, you know what I mean? Because I was at the primary shooter.
Yeah, that's awesome. He showed up and probably just cost that dude $1,000. He just go home and buy all that shit.
Yep. Didn't have to. I don't even know why I'm mentioning this, but I'm big on quality these days. But I feel like, and I guess you don't have to, but I feel like I have to deliver stuff in the highest quality possible. So I shoot everything in 4K. It was interesting to see that he was still shooting in 1080, which 1080 is totally fine, perfectly usable, But after looking at his price list, I'm like, wow, how is he not shooting in 4K at these prices? Which, maybe I'm just underselling myself. I don't know, but.
Well, I don't know what a lot of videographers are doing, but I would say at least at this point in time, there's not a lot of people that have, 4K watchable like TVs and things, which I guess in the future there probably would be a lot more. But yeah, I don't know why he's not shooting in 4K. I wish, I just got those new Nikon D850s and they shoot in 4K, so I've been using the 4K on that a lot.
Those rich people cameras.
What's that?
So those rich people cameras?
I don't know if they're rich people cameras, but they're definitely nice. But the only downside, which I don't know what the fuck Nikon was thinking, is like when you're shooting 4K, the focus peaking doesn't work, but it works when you're shooting 1080. So I switched to shooting 1080 so I can have the focus peaking, and I'm hoping they fix that with software update or something. But I don't know.
I was about to say, what does it take to have focus peaking while shooting 4K?
I have no clue, dude. I have no clue. But yeah, that I was trying to shoot the other day in 4K. I was like, what the fuck? Like, where's the focus peaking at? And then I looked it up on Google real quick, and that's what it said. And I was like, damn. So yeah, I switched back to shooting 1080, but I'm not shooting full-time video or anything either. So
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think I probably would shoot in 4K, just if nothing else, like some of the like cropping features and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I asked him, I was like, hey, I can shoot this in 4K. And then you'll have a little bit more flexibility when you bring it into your 1080p timeline to flex it. He's like, no, just go ahead and shoot in 1080. I'm like, all right, cool. You save me battery life.
Yeah.
One thing what is good about it is that he gave me one SD card to shoot on, and it was a 64 gig. He's like, yeah, you shouldn't have a problem filling this one up. And I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, I go through like 228 cards at, any of the weddings that I do. But I guess, shooting in 4K, that storage is is a different beast in comparison. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the only thing with the 4K stuff, man. It's kind of like, shooting these higher megapixel cameras and stuff. It's like you need more card space. You need like better, faster, bulkier computers. You need more hard drive space. Like you need more everything, which just all adds up to cost,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Speaking of, if I can mention this, from my experience now, I didn't realize how many little things you needed. Like, you can buy a camera and a lens and, still need 100 extra batteries. And, not only do you need the monopod, you need the video head to go with it. And then you need this to go with it. Then you need that to go with it, But you don't realize those things until you get it. And then you put it together and you're like, well, where the fuck is this? Damn it, I got to buy that extra. You know what I mean?
Or so that's like when you're on a job or something and you'd be like, damn, it'd be so nice if I just had this one thing that would just make your life so much easier. And it's like all that little shit just keeps adding up,
Yes,
like $25 here, $100 there, $50, It's like when I switched to the D850s, I had to buy all new cards because they used XQD cards. And I didn't have any XQD cards. And I ended up spending, I want to say, $700 on XQD cards. Then I had to buy XQD card readers, for my Lexar hub. That was another like $100 or whatever it was. And then there was something else that I had to buy. So by the time I switched over to buying these new cameras that were like $3,300 each, I had to spend like another like $1,200 just getting the shit I needed to even use the damn cameras.
Right.
And I didn't really think about that going into it, but
I guess you never really do. And, it's but I can also see why some photographers and video guys charge what they do. When you look at the expenses, and it doesn't have to be expensive to get into, but looking back at it, I'm thinking like, is it okay if I say what I charged for the first wedding that I did?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I charged them $1,000.
Which is awesome, considering you did 2 free weddings and then booked
2 free weddings and
your first paid job for $1,000. That's amazing.
$1,000. And I didn't know what they were going to say. I said it confidently enough. I was like, yeah, I'll give you a highlight film, $1,000. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm like, please don't say no. But,
But worst case scenario, you could have negotiated it. You know what I'm saying? Like you start high and you can negotiate down. You could have said $2,000.
I can do $750.
And then maybe you would have landed at $1,500.
Right. Right. I think my idea, and hopefully no potential clients of mine in the future is listening to this at this moment. But, my idea is that I will start raising my prices gradually until I find a spot where people start saying no.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
And then just kind of figure things out from there. But, even at $1,000, which is great money, especially for my first wedding, I started to get a glimpse into why certain people charge more, not necessarily just for the quality of work, but again, like I mentioned, you got to put in the time to edit. And then you have to also license the music, depending on where you license from. That could be an arm or a leg.
I would say, all right, so consumers definitely don't really understand that, but even a lot of photographers don't understand music licensing. So I think that's a cost that people just don't even realize that, or how much it even costs to license this song.
Right. So, going forward, I'm going to make sure that I'm not losing any money, make sure I'm not overpriced for what I'm doing, but, make sure I'm not losing anything. As we mentioned before, I'm totally not opposed to doing more free stuff, even after doing some paid stuff, just so I get an opportunity to try some new techniques and continue to evolve.
And I think that's smart. I mean, even now, so I've been doing this full time for 7 years, and I am now starting to want to second shoot and third shoot, so maybe I'll get paid for some of the second shooting, but some of the third shooting and stuff, like I'm literally just going there for myself, to push my own boundaries, to test stuff out, to kind of enhance my skill set.
Yeah.
Because it's going to help me in my own business and help me make more money. At the end of the day, so I'm kind of investing in my own education, I guess. And a lot of people, I don't think they see things that way. They look at things differently. Like unless they're getting paid to pick up a camera and walk out of the house, like they're not doing it, which is okay. And everybody has their own thing.
And I think, you mentioned it, and in a way, you're still getting paid.
Exactly.
It may not be dollars, but you're still getting paid. You're still, it's still rewarding to yourself. You know what I mean? It's like you pay money to go to the gym and get healthy and stay in shape. You know what I mean?
Right.
In this case, you're just showing up to this wedding or this event and shooting it for free. It's like any other training.
That's it.
It's like shooting a free wedding is actually cheaper than most gym memberships these days.
No, that's exactly it. Like I'm literally just investing in my own education. And pushing my own boundaries and skill set and stuff. So I think that's smart, especially if you just want to try stuff out. You don't want to be like showing up to like paid jobs and like testing and trying things out and fucking shit up, and then where you left.
And I've seen that, man.
Oh yeah, I have too.
I've seen it. Like I've got a guy who asked me for advice, which is crazy for me to think. It's like, man, what do you want? Like, I just know the shit that I read on the internet, man. Like, I don't know anything. But he asked me for advice, and I try to give him, sound advice, as often as possible. But he oftentimes just jumps in and doesn't think things through. And like you said, he gets on a paid job and realizes he didn't bring enough fucking batteries. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you can't be out there with no battery. Like, if you don't have a battery or enough cards, it's like you got to make sure you have the bare essentials at the very least. And, sometimes it takes those free jobs to be able to prepare, to be able to prepare yourself for those future opportunities.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. So I guess looking back on all of this, would there be anything that you would do differently? Is there anything that you've learned about yourself and your shooting that you would want to improve?
Yeah. Oh man, so many things have changed already, but what do I wish I would have done differently? I think I wish I would have taken a more hands-on approach. And what I mean by that is me as the video guy, sometimes I like just being a fly on the wall, capture things as they happen, and that's it. You don't even know I'm there kind of thing. But going forward, I think I'm going to be a little bit more hands-on where I'm coaching to the shots that I want. I'm going in a room, I'm turning off lights, I'm turning off TVs, asking them to face this way, do it that way. All right, can I get you to do this again for me? And not in a sense where it's a rehearsed thing. Like I don't want them to feel like they have to be actors.
Right.
But just to get them, some nice shots. Get a tight shot of, dude buttoning up his jacket. All right, do that for me one more time. Let me get a little bit wider shot so I can kind of patch things in one more time. Things like that. Just a little bit more hands-on approach with the couples. I thought it was a little bit harder for me with the free stuff because, at that point, I had never spoken to these people before. Everybody, now don't get me wrong, everybody was extremely nice and very, very welcoming, of me being there. But I just didn't feel like it was my place. But going forward, I think regardless of whether it's free or paid, I think I'm just going to take a more hands-on approach just to up the production value of what is ultimately going to be their video.
Right. No, exactly. I'm kind of the same way. I mean, I shoot, pretty much 100% full documentary style. So I'm very hands-off. I'm just kind of capturing moments as it is. But I would be the first person in there cleaning up all the trash and shit to make it look better. Or if I know, sometimes I'll work with, makeup artists and I don't know if they're inexperienced or what, but they're trying to do makeup in some shit ass bathroom with no light, and it's just terrible looking. So I just say, hey, can we just move this chair by this nice window light, which is going to help them out,
right?
For makeup and stuff, but it's also going to help my pictures and the photography and the outcome of all that out. Yeah, no, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, I try to remain hands off and stuff as well. But if I see something I can fix or I can improve to make it that much better, I'm definitely going to do it. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm also starting to, and I don't know that, this is not anything that I would do differently. It's just something that I'm realizing the importance of having a good relationship with the other vendors.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I couldn't imagine, especially after doing 4 weddings, of those 4, I couldn't imagine not getting along with the photographer or the DJ. How awkward or how much of a hassle that would be for me not getting along with those guys. So I think going forward, I'm going to continue to, reach out to each vendor personally before the wedding date, just
Yeah.
to get to know them and introduce myself, and try to build a decent relationship with them going in so we can be there to support each other as opposed to just, hey, stay the fuck out of my way kind of mentality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag. Like I do the same thing. So I'll about a week out, I'll send out emails to all the vendors that I know I'm going to be working with, just to introduce myself. Say, hey, what's up? Going to be working together. If you guys need anything, let me know. This is who I am. This is my name or whatever. It's just kind of like a small introduction, I guess, right? And
Yeah.
then on the day of, I'm pretty conscious about trying to help whoever I can out. So if it's like the video guy, like obviously I got shots out that I need to get, and then I know he's gonna need the same fucking shots. So I'm gonna let him
Yeah.
know, like, hey, dude, I'm getting these shots right now. I know you need these. Come over here and grab them. And if you want to rearrange stuff or do whatever it is that you want to do, I'm cool with that too. Or like when I go in to shoot portraits, I'll shoot all the portraits that I need. Then I'll look at the video dude. I'm like, hey, man, what do you want to do? Because I know he wants some sort of creative freedom and stuff too.
Right.
So then I'll let him do whatever he wants to do. And honestly, a lot of times I get really good shots out of whatever the video guy's doing because they're doing shit for motion. Whereas a lot of times I'm not thinking so much in motion. So they're doing some cool stuff, and, get this motion and stuff going. I'm just kind of capturing stuff as it's happening. And it turns out amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Same thing with like the DJs and stuff. I'm always trying to like I know that they can't always leave their station because they're trying to run the music and stuff. And I'm like, hey, dude, do you guys need a drink? You need some water? You want me to grab your food while I'm over there, or whatever? Just trying to take care of people. I mean, like we're all working for the same reason. We're all trying to deliver the best experience for these couples. So why wouldn't we just help each other out? We all have different jobs, but we all have the same job.
Yeah.
And I think that will go a long way. Like that's a smart move on your part, I think, for sure.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
A couple things that I picked up on that you said that I wanted to kind of touch on. You mentioned sound guys. After this past wedding, the one that I shot, for $4,000, I realized the importance of not only having audio, but having backup audio, and in some cases having backup of your backup audio. I went in there and I knew that they were going to have a DJ, and I plugged into his board, which totally sounded fine on the mic check. It was all good. But I also put a mic on the officiant. I should have put a mic on one of the brides, the one that was wearing the vest. I should have put a mic on her, but don't know why I didn't. Just in hindsight, I probably should have done that. But if I didn't, I would have had no ceremony audio because they never turned on the mic. And it's funny, the DJ, he was sweating bullets. He was like, hey, you realize that mic wasn't on? He goes, yeah, they're going to be upset with me because you're not going to have audio for what? I'm like, no, I took care of it. I'm like the officiant. And so he, that was a big weight lifted off his shoulders because he felt like that would have came down on him if I couldn't provide some of the audio because equipment, was shitty or whatever the case was. So, as important as audio is to video, have backup upon backup upon backup if you can, if it's practical.
And really, at the end of the day, like it wasn't his job. You know what I'm saying? That was you.
Yeah.
So if you didn't get shit to
sure.
deliver, it's like fuck. That's your fault. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah. I guess he was taking a little bit more responsibility than he needed to. But
yeah, he definitely is. That was cool of him though to even be stressed about that.
Yeah.
That just shows you what kind of person
if I was a DJ, I wouldn't give a fuck. I was like, hey, dude, too bad. They heard the shit. It was all right, But you mentioned another thing that that us as video guys were shooting for motion. I think in hindsight and going forward, I want to do more shots. I want to do shots differently with like the dress and things like that. Usually I'm just following you or, the other photographer out,
Mm-hmm.
hang the dress on something stationary. We're shooting it kind of there. I'm doing this kind of traditional pan shot. Um, but if there's like no wind, like nothing's moving, it just looks like a picture that I'm panning up and down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think, looking at that, I want to do something a little bit more creative and, get some shots of the bride with the dress, whether it's, just carrying the dress over to the bed, steaming it out, whatever they're doing, just some type of interaction with it to drive home that this is a video and not
You're right.
just, standing pictures.
Yeah.
So I think I want to do that going forward. Those little detail shots, get some sort of interaction with them in the video as opposed to just the traditional stuff. If that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense.
I think it adds more interest and visual impact for sure. Even in photo, I think when you convey motion and things that are moving, it just creates more visual impact, Just because every day
I feel like it's hard to do in photos.
It is a little bit harder, but it's like, I'll get stuff like with them twirling in, say, dresses and stuff, or, like there's always things you can do to kind of create movement, or even implied movement. And I just think it adds more visual impact, and it just looks better because in real life, everything around us moves and interacts, so the more realistic you can make that seem, like even in a photo, because it is a still thing, the more it comes across, I think.
Yeah, makes sense. That makes sense.
All right, cool, man. Well, it looks like the bar is about to close, so we're gonna have to wrap things up. Is there, one thing I want to know for sure is what type of documentaries do you want to do? Like, you have ideas and stuff already that you want to start working on or pursuing?
Yeah, I do. And what's gonna happen, man, is that I'm gonna shout it out, and then somebody's gonna steal my $1 million idea, son. But no, I actually want to do a little mini series. I want to call it Dream Chasers. Make fun of the name all you want, but I want to talk to people like you, like me, in different fields, not necessarily just the creative field, but people who are in business for themselves, how they got started, why they got started, the challenges of them getting started, and their hopes, their goals and ambitions, just kind of short stories of why people do what they do, and hopefully get a lot of them, a lot of video of them doing their job or their work, as well as some interview talking head stuff. It'll come together. Hopefully soon. We'll see if I can maybe get you get you free one of these weekends.
Shit, why gotta be me, man?
Hey, you're accessible, man.
No, I think that's good though. I think that's. There's a lot people can learn from that. Just as entrepreneurs or people that want to start their own business. I think there's one thing to have a dream. There's another thing to go into it and start doing it. And then when you get into it, you realize, fuck, this is way more work and way more time consuming than I thought it was going to be. Like when I got into photography, I didn't realize how hard and how much time and effort I was going to have to put into it. Like I thought it would be like, because most people go to like a 9 to 5. It's 35 hours a week, 40 hours a week. It's 9 to 5. They're off on weekends or whatever. And then you start a business. And then, at least for the first couple of years, you're working, 50, 60, 80, 100 hours. No matter what fucking problem happens, it's on you. And no matter what job needs to be done, it's on you. Like everything just, like you realize how cushy a regular 9 to 5 job really is. And then you realize
a lot of things you ain't got to worry about when you got somebody else worrying about it for you.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people don't have to worry about insurance or matched retirement plans or paid vacations and sick days, and there's a lot that people sacrifice. And I think that'd be interesting to kind of see all that and really to see the reasons why each person starts a business, because it's different for everybody. I think.
And I also think I want to do I want to make it a very impactful and emotional series. So I really want to talk to some people who run a business but it's not going as planned, or people who are in this phase where it may not necessarily be working out for them as they expected, but they still have ambition to make it happen. And a lot of businesses that we don't see, not just mainstream stuff. Maybe, somebody who's running a nonprofit, who has a goal to help other people in a very interesting way. I don't know. I don't know yet. I haven't put together the logistics, but I think it could be a good idea.
No, I love it. I love it. Yeah. So you have to do it at this point. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where people stop. They come up with these ideas, and then nothing happens. So I'm gonna hold you to that, man.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Hold me accountable. I need more of that in my life.
So is there anything else, I guess, you would tell like listeners that are just starting out, or anything that you've learned that you'd want to say?
Yeah. Well, I think you kind of brought it home just a second ago. Just do it. If it's something that you're interested in, nothing else is going to teach you how to do it or show, whether really tell you whether you're going to be interested in it or not if you don't do it. Before doing my first wedding, I think I watched 10, 12, 15 hours worth of videos on how to shoot weddings and behind the scenes of this wedding video and that wedding video. But my experience, and although that was helpful, that's good. That was great content. My experience was totally unique, and I wouldn't change that for anything. I think my only regret is not jumping into it sooner. So if you have something that you want to try, no harm in trying it. Just get out there and see if you love doing it. And if you don't, move on to the next thing. If you do, less time wasted, thinking about it.
That's the number one thing, man. Get off your ass and do something. Like, whatever it is.
100%.
Like, if you want to do something, stop fucking Googling shit and Facebooking things. Just get up and go out and do it. You're not going to be the best. You're not going to be, the most successful starting out. That's just this podcast, dude. The first 6 episodes are just fucking horrible, But I've gotten better. So hopefully this one's a little bit better. And in 20 more episodes, I'm going to look back and say the same damn thing.
And, it's, that definitely shows in your photography work, from day one till now. It's crazy 9-day difference. But, one guy that I follow a lot, he's not a photographer or video guy, but just from a motivational standpoint, I listen to him a lot. Terry Crews, everybody knows who he is. He's a fucking crazy black dude. He's all jacked, but he does all like the crazy roles and white chicks and everything like that. He's funny as hell. But one thing that he said people call him special. And he says, no, I'm not special. I'm not any more special than anyone else. I just had the courage to do it. I had the courage to get out there and try it. So that's really boils down to, just do it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, dude, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come back here again, or I guess it's like night. It's like 11. So time out of your night to come back and talk to everybody, and hopefully everybody found some good information out of this. If it's cool with you, can I share some of your work, like on the podcast page? Just so people can get an idea and stuff.
As long as your fans aren't mean, man. As long as nobody's going to be mean to me. That's all good. I appreciate it.
Maybe just a little bit. But, so I guess that's going to about wrap up this episode. If you guys have any questions or concerns or interest in talking to Sean Lee or myself, I'm definitely in the Facebook group, and I'll add Sean in there, but he's not much of a social media bug, so I don't know how often he'll actually be in there. But maybe I can...
You can find me on Instagram. That's about the only place you can find me.
Okay, cool, man. What's your Instagram then?
You can follow me at O18 Media. And O the word. OH18 Media.
And I guess your website, what's that?
O18media.com.
All right.
And that's OH18 Media. So, you'll maybe one day when I come back, I'll tell the backstory on that name, but, that's for another day.
All right. Cool, man. Well, thanks again. And everybody else, you can join us in the Facebook group and let us know what you guys think if you're starting your first job or what your experience was, when you started your first job. And you can find the Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/photo bar podcast. Or you can just go to the main Facebook page, or I think, you can just search for Photo Bar Podcast. It'll just pop up. But you can also email me directly at photobarpodcast@gmail.com. And as always, if you want to check out my work, you can visit my website at matthewdruin.com. Instagram is at mattdruin. Twitter is at matthewdruin. And Facebook is facebook.com/MatthewDruin Photography. And I never want you to miss an episode, so be sure to hit the subscribe button and do it now because I know you'll forget in 5 minutes, especially if you've been drinking beers like we have. So be sure to do that and share it with your friends. And lastly, if you could help us, please leave a glowing 5-star review on iTunes, Google Play Store, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to your podcast episodes at, because it really helps me stay motivated to keep, creating content. It helps people find the podcast, and it makes you look really awesome. So, with that said, I guess it wraps up this episode, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Jesus Christ.
What the fuck was that shit?
Look at this shit. It says your PC ran into a problem and needs to restart. We're just collecting some error info, and then we'll restart it for you.